All right, good morning. Today I find myself in Manchester Triumph and I'm taking out this, the 2019 Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE. And what a monster it is too. So I've just had the talk running through all the bits and pieces on this stonking bike by a wonderful guy called Hayden. And I've got the bike for about 3.5 hours, and my stomach's twirling. I'm a bit nervous with it all. So this is the model that has all the bells and whistles on it, and it is tall, so much so tall in fact that I am tiptoeing. Ah! Whew. I couldn't get the damn side stand up. I'm at a bit of an adverse angle. Okay, I'm literally tiptoeing. It's a very comfortable place to be, straight off the bat. But yeah, feels odd. Mental note, do not catch myself on an adverse camber, because it will be trouble. Okay. Alrighty, there we go. Managed to get off the forecourt just about in one piece. Okay, so this is the plan. I'm gonna take this thing out to the peaks. I'm gonna go out to the Underman and get it through some twisties. So I'm gonna get out of Manchester and I'll catch up with you in the pretty stuff. Oh my god, this thing's tall. This thing is tall, really tall. So tall in fact that it makes me nervous, which is not great. I'm on tiptoes on this thing, and I literally just got off the GS Adventure. Well, on this I feel nervous because of the height, which I wasn't expecting. But the first thing that hits you is the power. It has got oodles of it. It is very, very powerful. So much torque. So much so that the slight twist of the throttle pulls me back, and I have to hold on to the bars. It keeps catching me off guard. Here we go, onto the motorway. Oh, this thing is throwing me about like no one's business. Here we go. Here we go. I think this is going to batter me about. Woohoo! Oh, it's so smooth. Okay, it does really well on the motorway. I've got no fairing on this, and yet I feel okay. I was expected to be battered, so I'm cruising here at 70, and I feel absolutely fine, which is nice, very nice, tip top. Can only imagine how nice it would be if I had a little screen on it, and that powers for days, man. I'm in 5th gear. Let's get up into 6. There we go, 6. And it's just got so much, you can feel it on the throttle. It's like telling you, go, go, go. No, this is good. Straight off the bat, I can confirm that the Scrambler will be very comfortable on the motorway. As I said a moment ago, it's crazy tall bike. But once you're going, it's absolutely fine. It's just not so great at T-junctions and traffic lights and so on, because I don't know about everybody else obviously, but for me I find it very unnerving being on my very tiptoes, and I don't class myself as being a short person. Woohoo! So you'll see that we're now in the peaks and it's got very pretty, but I'm just easing myself into this one because I'm a bag of nerves for some reason and I don't know why. But what I can tell you straight off the bat is that this thing has got so much power, torque for days, and it's really pulling me back off the bars. It's quite sobering actually how much power the thing's got, and you're up high, you're very upright, so I find the riding position very comfortable. It's straight up, legs straight down, there's no tucking involved, but I think that this seat is a bit firm for my taste. So I've been riding for what, I guess about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I'm starting to get the dreaded numb bum. But see, wow, boom. So you got to be very careful with that throttle. The exhausts sound incredible, and these are just the standard ones. I can only imagine what the third-party ones would sound like. But it's the height of the thing. It's 840 millimeters, I believe. It's the seat height, and it's tall, but very thin. It's a thin bike. You can see here. And yeah, as I said earlier, I find it very unnerving. That's the thing that probably is shaking my confidence a bit, because I'm terrified about dropping the thing. But my destination today is the Yonderman, and I'm going to gather my thoughts there and talk to you properly from therefore in. Tell you something else, with the bike being so high, I'm scared about finding the side stand. I'm hoping I can find it. Otherwise I might not stop at all. Oh man, is it going to take me down? I don't want to go down roads like this. Not on a bike that's not mine, that I can't touch the ground on. Oh dearie me. Yeah, someone would be coming, wouldn't they? And I would stall it. It's certainly chilled off now. Gosh, the temperature's just dropped. Thankfully I've got some heated grips to help me out. Okay, minor panic kicking in. I've got a key logo that's showing up on the dash there, which makes me worried. Okay, I know what road I'm on. At least that's something. I know where I am. Slightly concerned about that key logo, but the bike's running fine. Key is in my pocket. I might have to give the guys a call just to double check. Oh my word, this thing goes! Oh, it goes, it goes, it goes! You do have to hold on! Come on girl, let's go! That was fun. I hope the mic picks up some of this exhaust noise. Because it is awesome! Oh, yeah, that was fun. What a beautiful autumn day! We're not far out now from the Onderman. Looking forward to a cup of tea. Warm myself up a little bit. Then I'll start talking properly about this bike. Tell you something, these heated grips aren't up to much. I think they're up to full whack and I'm still cold. Just shows how how hot the BMW ones are. They're ridiculous though, they are ridiculous. Or it's just bloody cold and these heated grips are normal, I don't know. I don't know if you can make out, but the back of that Land Rover are two dogs staring back at me. Here we go. I think this is where this bike truly belongs, roads like this. Oh man, it's so snatchy. That throttle is scary. Well, it scares me anyway. Okay, I'm about, I don't know, 5 minutes if that from the Underman. I had it's a different take I guess on my structure of a test ride. The nerves got me so much with the height of the bike. I've just been focusing on the ride all the way out here. But because of that, I've managed to get a lot from it. So I'm going to have a cup of tea and then share my thoughts on the way back through this glorious countryside. That's the plan anyway. Here we go. Here we are. It's a good thing too, because I am freezing. Why are we all braking? Why are you braking, old boy? It's nothing in front of you. Oh, dear me. Right, fingers crossed I do not screw this up and drop the bike. Well, it's certainly very light. I'll give it that. Oh, there it is. Woohoo! Found the kickstand. Okay, so I'm going to go warm up, have a cup of tea, then give you my proper thoughts on the way back. Okay, let's go do this. That guy's got a radio attached to his handlebars right there. Wow, it's pretty impressive. Okay, there we go, just filled up on good coffee here at the Underman, and I'm back at the bike, and she is a looker. She got a lot of attention. There was actually a guy here doing another test on this exact working for Triumph. It was all very hush-hush. But he was a really nice guy. We started talking about the machine. But anyway, this is the XE, so this is the taller version of the Scrambler with all the mod cons on it. I mean, this thing is fully loaded with gadgets and gizmos. It's ridiculous. They went through everything with me at the dealership, and I just like tuned out halfway through because there was so much stuff. Everything is adjustable, from the suspension at the front and the back, or the other way around, to the gadgets on the bars. I mean, everything is adjustable and customizable. It's just ridiculous, but I'm not going to go through all of that because it's just extensive. But I will show you a few things that really impressed me coming from a GS. Again, attention to detail on something like a Triumph is incredible. The paintwork is phenomenal. All the bolts, the metal, it's embossed everywhere with Triumph. It's just those little things when you're spending this amount of money on a bike that make all the difference, and that really impresses me. Just let these folks move out. But yeah, all I mean, Triumph haven't skimped at all on this bike. It's phenomenal, it really is. So some of the details, like the gear lever there, it folds in, so it doesn't cause you any issues when standing and moving the bike around. The brake, this pulls in and switches around like that. Ta-da! If I can get it back in. For when you're going off-road and on-road, which I thought was really impressive. The actual dials, the clocks, you can adjust it, go backwards and forwards. Look at that. How cool is that? It's a little attention to detail like that you can adjust for your riding style. Now, on a bike, look, there's some classic bodies over there, and they look gorgeous. But for me, as great as that TFT screen is, I would probably prefer clocks if I was going down the Triumph route or the retro Triumph route, because this thing is a real combination of, in my opinion, of the modern and retro. It's got the spoke wheels, the gorgeous brushed metal tank, this amazing brace down the middle of it, beautiful. This tank, filler cap, it's beautiful, look at that, really like that. And then it's like combined with the modern, with all the gizmos, everything, literally, I'm not kidding, everything is adjustable in this. It is phenomenal. But if I was going down this route proper, I really would want to have, I think, analog clocks. As fantastic as this thing is, yeah, I love those gold forks too. It really does have some presence, doesn't it? Look at it. If I saw this in a car park, I would go up and kick some tyres on it. Look at it, stunning. I think Triumph have played a blinder on the looks of this thing. However, this thing is so tall. This thing is so tall. It makes me nervous. Makes me very nervous. Because I am on tiptoes. As I mentioned earlier, oh, listen to it. Phenomenal. It's 840 millimeters, 840, and that's high. So I already know if I was in the market for this bike, I would be getting its sister, the slightly cheaper and slightly shorter variant with a few less mod cons. But you know, those mod cons, come on Blake. But those mod cons are questionable anyway if you actually really need them. It's just wanting them. Want, need, it's a fine line. So yeah, I already know that would be the bike, the variant I would go for, because I'm just infinitely more comfortable on that version. The thing that struck me outside of the height of the bike is its power. It is so powerful, so much torque. It's quite sobering how much power this thing has got. It caught me out a number of times, and you know, and that's a good thing, you know, because it's so much fun. But geez, that throttle, it's so snatchy, in my opinion. I've come from a bike that's real smooth on its power delivery, and this thing's vicious. But it's fun. God, it's fun. But I went through a few tight corners, and I struggled giving that smooth power around it. It kept on wanting to pull out of my hands. It was like an animal. So I struggled with that. But that's my limitations as a rider. More so problems with the bike. Because it delivers 89, only 89 brake horsepower, which is confusing considering how much get up and go it kicks out and how much grid factor it's given me. And 110 Newton meters of torque. So yeah, the torque is just immense. But before I go on and get any other figures or stats wrong, let me put everything on the screen for you right now. Did you get all that? Good. So, yeah, this bike has surprised me. I mean, I went into that dealership wanting to have a go on the Triumph Street Cup after having the brilliant test ride on the Royal Enfield Interceptor. And I started talking to the guys about what I ride, i.e. the BMW GS and the K100, and mentioned my interest in the retros, modern retros, and then they led me to this, which I have seen at Motorcycle Live and did swing a leg over it, and it seemed like an interesting idea to take out something with the same CC engine capacity as my GS, but in a more of a modern retro form. And here I am. So today was a nice day, so took advantage of it, and I hadn't been out on the bike for a little while, so I am enjoying it thoroughly. But as I said, I haven't been at ease with the bike at all, but I'm putting that mainly down to its height. It's very thin though, very thin bike, very slim. So I'm very light as well, which is very nice. It's a big bonus. So there's no worries about that, about manoeuvring it around. It's just having the ability to be flat-footed, or at least the soles of your feet on the deck. I'm 6 foot and about 15 stone, so you get an idea of my build and height. And I'm, as I've said multiple times now already, I'm struggling with the height of the bike. So this one is not for shorties. It really isn't. And it really has surprised me about how high it is. And I most definitely would get the variant if I was to go for this. But it has confused me as a package, because it's got that mixture of all this tech, and it is teeming with tech. Brembos, gadgets, fully adjustable this, fully adjustable that, and it's all very impressive. The quality also strikes you as well. Everything feels finished to a very, very high standard. And it's fantastic. It oozes quality, every inch of it. It really does. And it's something you would be very proud about riding. But I question the need to have all of this kind of... I get it with this day and age, I really do, with the ability to having more and more gadgets. But on something like this that looks so retro, is there a need to have all these gadgets on board? How often are you actually going to use it? This bike would certainly be way more suited to going off-road and scrambling and all that kind of stuff than the big adventure counterparts that both Triumph, Yamaha, BMW, yada 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 do. But again, it comes back to the same thing. If you're dropping £11,500 on something like this, would you actually take it off-road? I don't think you would. I really don't. It's a big chunk of change, base price being 11.5k, and from my point of view, again, I've been pondering on this on the way out here. If I was dropping £11,500 on an adventure bike, which this is, it's an adventure bike in a modern retro body, would I choose this? And I just don't think I would. I'd rather spend that kind of money on a package that has the fairing, has the luggage, and has, quite frankly, a more comfortable seat. Do not get me wrong, I think this bike looks amazing. It's one of those dream bikes that you would put up on the wall, and drool over as a kid. It's the kind of bike that you pull up and everybody turns around to have a look at it. The finish on it, as I've said, is incredible. But for me, again, this is all subjective, and this is my point of view, it's just not as comfortable as other bikes in its class, or in its price point. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Those cans, though, they're just phenomenal. They're making me grin all the time. I think this bike is built for roads like this, and what I'm on now, twisty roads, on sunny days like this. But I'm going to have to do it. It takes me back to the Royal Enfield, because that does the same thing at half the price. And I know it doesn't have all the gadgets. I know it's not a Triumph, and I know it doesn't. It's a different style of bike. But to me, it kind of fits in that category. It's a retro. This thing has been styled as a retro-looking bike, which is exactly what the Royal Enfield is. But the Royal Enfield has stripped back all the toys and gadgets and gizmos and just given you a pure fun thing to have fun on twisty roads. Whereas this has all the gadgets and all the everything you could possibly want or not need, arguably. I don't know. It's what I would struggle over. This bike is definitely in the realms of primary bike, not secondary bike. at its price point and what it offers. And I know that you could gear this stuff with all the luggage, with a screen, and you could, ride around the world on it. It'd be very, very capable. But I think you would have to change the seat because it is very firm. Oh God, it sounds good. It really does. But yeah, that's my summary right away, right out of the box. So spoilers there. It's phenomenal, it's brilliant, but would I buy one? No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. In its class, I would get a Bonneville, a regular one, a T120 or a Street Cup to get the same feeling. I really would. Or maybe I'm missing the point, and I'm sure I'll get abused for it, but that's just my thoughts. But it rides well. Jesus, it's so much fun, and that throttle, as I said, it feels like a hooligan machine. I think that's probably a better summary. It really does feel, that coupled with the noise. Yeah, no, it feels like a hooligan machine in a very civilized clothing. Because you wouldn't think it by looking at it. See, like, here we go. So we're going to go with a big, long, slow left-hander here. And this wouldn't be a problem at all, but I've had to pull the clutch in. Straight away I feel it pulling away, snatching at the back wheel, wanting to go. Oh, what a beautiful day, look at that. Right, let's get back onto the bike itself. So the switchgear is solid, it really is. It's a beautiful thing. And all this switchgear lights up from the back, so it's all backlit, which is very impressive. Triumph have gone all out with the gadgets on this thing, really have. It all feels very solid, it's all very logical and makes sense. It's nothing there that's going to catch you off guard. They've got a joystick thing here, which is, for me, is a bit strange, because I'm used to having the flywheel, if you like, on the Beamer, which whizzes through all the information on the sat-nav and the instruments, and the Triumph has got this, which is a little bit close for comfort to your horn and your indicator, but you do get used to it. The TFT screen, now that thing is really impressive for what it is. I think it looks so cool, and it's got so much stuff integrated into it. Again, it was run through when I was at the dealership, and my word, my head was spinning at the end of it for all the things that you could do. It's got so many ride modes, and every single thing could be adjusted to your liking. It's just phenomenal what this thing can do. Absolutely incredible. I love that customization that you can do with it. It can really make this bike your own. And even to the displays on the Speedo there, you can change it to a more of a retro layout. You can go light, dark, you name it. Very impressive. Everything feels and looks really solid on this bike. And oh man, it dips down when you get the brake. Not used to that. Oh. I've stalled it so many times. See, there, I'm finding it really difficult with slow control. But again, I'll take that on the chin as my limitations as a rider. But I know on my other bikes I've no problem going around slow control without jerking backwards and forwards. It's just vicious. However, I could be in sport mode for all I know. I do not remember if I'm in sport mode or road mode, so that could be a big part of that. Now, seating position, as I mentioned previously, it's very comfortable. You're very upright, back and straight, feet straight down, a very commanding position, and very comfortable. I like it a lot. It works for me. It's ideal. So no complaints there at all. And the bars, the whole thing, it just works. So you're not tucked up or cramped or anything like that. But you do feel like you're on the bike rather than in it. You're perched on top of this bench seat. And when you pull back on that throttle, you have to hold on because your bum does slide back. The bike lets you know that you're going. But you've got to hold on. It's a 6-gear box, as you would expect. But there's no quick shifter on this, so it's doing it the good old-fashioned way of using that clutch, but it's very smooth. I do enjoy that power delivery. Once you get it into gear and on its get going, it's just endless amounts of power. It just rides that beautiful curve of torque, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, this is a fun bike. It really is. You know, it's one of those on a sunny day, get your leathers on and go out and cruise. Oh, because it's got it's got that that power, that torque, that grid factor. So much fun. Yeah, for me it's just about where this bike is pitched for regular people, of course. That's what I mean by that, because it's a phenomenal bit of kit. It really is. As a bike it's just amazing, but I just don't know, you know, with its price point and with everything else out there, how it's gonna do, you know, because as I said earlier, if I was looking for, I don't know, I just think it's priced too high, too much stuff packed into the options list. I think if you simplified it and keep the core elements of the bike, you would do better. I don't know, but certainly make. Oh, I've got. That was brilliant. Oh, see, roads like this. I'm not. I can't even get my words out. This bike is brilliant. It really is. I'm just stating, from my point of view, is it a bike that I would actually buy for me? It's just. This bike is insane. It's a wheelie machine. It's such a hooligan. Look at that, it's incredible. And like with all modern Triumph bikes, it's the attention to detail and that heritage that makes you feel so special. And you don't get enough of that, I don't think, these days. It's just such a great brand. Going back to the switchgear, I do not like this. The heated grips button is a nightmare to get to. Don't know if you can make that out, but it's buried into the actual hand grip, and it's a real nightmare for me to find it. There we go, I got it. But that's first world problems right there. I adore the paint job on this. If I was to get this is with the finish I would get on this blue. I think it's gorgeous. The whole thing. It's just it's those attention to details, having it Triumph brand embossed onto the foot pegs and the handlebar. I do love all that stuff. Like with all these things, this is just one person's point of view, and it all very much depends on what you are looking for in a bike. If you are looking for that weekend fun bike to weave around twisty roads and with a loud exhaust and a massive grin on your face, this bike can do that. This bike can do that and more, oh so more. But my question is that there are many, or my point of view is that there are many other bikes out there that can give you that same experience for much less. I think that's the biggest problem with the bike. Could this bike tour? Absolutely. Absolutely it could. I think it lacks a bit at the top end, and that's where the 89 brake horsepower kicks in. The lower end stuff, it's so rapid, it picks up so quickly off the lights and all the lower gears. It's phenomenal fun. On the motorway, you know, you hit that 70, 75, and from my point of view it starts to hold back a little bit. And of course the obvious thing is that you need to pick up the fairing, like some kind of screen, luggage obviously, but you could do it. You could tour on any bike. But I think the biggest thing with touring on this particular bike is the seat, because I find it particularly uncomfortable, which has surprised me. But as an overall package, as a motorcycle, it is just brilliant. You know, those exhausts, you wouldn't need to get any third-party ones because they sound incredible. They've got enough poke and power that makes you feel like a rebel. It really does. You know, it really does. It makes you feel like you're a true biker, you know, I guess, the old style, but in very civilized clothing. You know, you would never think it by looking at it that it has this much power and torque under the hood. It's just I would personally go for the lower one, just so I'd be more confident at junctions and whatnot. Like with all my test rides, this is I'm not a journalist or anything like that. It's just literally my thoughts as a regular biker. So I apologise if I'm going all over the place. And there are a million other vloggers and professional journalists that can give you a much better insight into this bike than I ever could. But I always enjoy sharing my thoughts on any new bike. This thing's a treat. It really is. Yeah, hooligan. Absolute hooligan. Hooligan in a suit. That's what I'm going to go with. Hooligan in a suit. Corporate hooligan. God, yeah, you really do have to hold on when you pull back on that throttle. What I would say is I don't think this bike is for beginners. I wouldn't recommend it at all for newcomers to the biking fraternity. It's because of that throttle. I've been riding for 10 years and it keeps catching me out. Yeah, it really has surprised me, that torque. And it's a great thing, you can have a lot of fun with it. But this thing is, this bike's the real deal. Yeah, it's you can't take it for granted or be blasé about what it can do, because I think it would surprise you, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Look at these views, people! Incredible! Just checking out my silhouette there on the road. Loving it. This bike has got some presence. Okay, so I'm heading back to the dealership. Oh, come on, fella. So I think I'm going to wrap things up there. Just want to say a massive thanks to the guys at Triumph in Manchester. Really nice guys down there, and very kindly let me take this bike out for very kindly let me take this bike out today, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So this bike is something very special, I think. It's got tons of character and tons of power, and that torque is just something else. It really is. And I thoroughly recommend anybody even considering this bike to take it out. But I would follow that up. With having a very close look at the other model, the slightly shorter model in stature, because I think it's going to pack an equal punch, but at a cheaper price, and give you a lot more confidence on the road, being able to be a lot more sure-footed. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the coverage and the footage. I thoroughly enjoyed the ride, and I'll be back again real soon. Until then, take care. Bye. I just realised that thing on the dash is a spanner. Perhaps for servicing. And not a key.